sent out in the suffocating silence of the Jefferson County Courthouse. A single tear carved a jagged path down Judge Eleanor Hayes's cheek, her gavel hovering in mid-air like a pendulum frozen by fate. Before her stood Marcus Jackson, a broad-shouldered black inmate in a faded orange jumpsuit, his dark eyes burning with a desperate intensity that pierced the room. The gallery, filled with jurors, attorneys, and curious onlookers, held its breath, the air thick with anticipation. No one could have foreseen the seismic shift about to unfold, a moment that would rip open old wounds, ignite a long, dormant fire within the judge, and leave the entire court stunned into silence. The courtroom itself was a cathedral of justice, its high ceilings adorned with ornate moldings and arched windows that filtered the grey November light of 2025. Eleanor Hayes, a slight figure in her late 50s with piercing green eyes and a cascade of silver, streaked hair pulled into a tight bun, commanded the bench with an authority honed over decades. Her black robe hung like armor, its crisp lines a shield against the doubts that plagued her. She had risen from the gritty streets of Detroit, a child of a single mother who scrubbed floors to pay for her education, to become one of the state's most respected jurists. Yet, beneath her stoic facade lay a secret she buried deep. The loss of her younger brother, Terrence, a black soldier killed in a military cover-up during the Iraq War. That tragedy, a wound she'd never fully healed, pulsed beneath every gavel strike, shaping her sense of justice in ways she rarely admitted. Judge Marcus Jackson, standing shackled at the defendant's table, was a man forged in hardship. At 34, his muscular frame and steady gaze hinted at his past as an army sergeant, a role stripped from him after a controversial discharge following a botched mission in Afghanistan. Now, he faced a 20-year sentence for an armed robbery he claimed he didn't commit, his life unraveling under the weight of circumstantial evidence and a system that seemed stacked against him. His public defender, Daniel Ruiz, a young lawyer with sweat beading on his brow, fumbled through his notes, clearly overwhelmed by the case's complexity. The prosecution, led by a seasoned district attorney named Carla Monroe, painted Marcus as a dangerous recidivist, citing his military record and a series of petty crimes. But as Eleanor observed him, she saw echoes of Terrence, his pride, his resilience, his quiet dignity, stirring a memory she couldn't shake. The trial had been a pressure cooker from the outset. Witnesses gave conflicting testimonies, their voices trembling under Eleanor's scrutiny. The evidence, a grainy security tape, and a witness with a shaky alibi, felt flimsy. Yet the jury's skeptical glances at Marcus suggested prejudice had already taken root. Racial tensions simmered, unspoken but palpable, as the all-white panel deliberated. Eleanor's rulings were meticulous, her questions sharp, but they earned her whispered criticism from the gallery and cold stares from the prosecution. She pressed on, her resolve tested daily, unaware that the case would soon force her to confront her past head-on. The turning point came during the sentencing phase. As the clock ticked toward 3:26 p.m. on that fateful Friday, November 14, 2025, Marcus rose from his chair, the clink of his chains echoing like a gunshot. "Your Honor," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion, "before you pass sentence, I have one request. I want to see my daughter, Aaliyah, one last time. She's 6, and she doesn't understand why I'm locked up, why her daddy's not there to tuck her in." The room shifted uncomfortably, lawyers exchanging glances, jurors frowning. Eleanor's heart clenched, a memory of Terrence's laughter, with her as a child flooding back. She adjourned the court, her mind a whirlwind of doubt and duty, retreating to her chambers to wrestle with the decision. Alone in her office, surrounded by leather, bound books, and the faint scent of aged wood, Eleanor paced. The request was unprecedented, a violation of protocol that could end her career. Her colleagues had always underestimated her, seen her as a diversity hire, a woman who'd lucked into her position rather than earned it. The pressure was suffocating, amplified by the framed military commendation on her wall, a relic of Terrence's service now yellowed with time. She traced its edges with a trembling finger, recalling the government's refusal to investigate his death, the way it had shattered her family. A resolve began to harden within her. She wouldn't let Marcus's daughter suffer the same abandonment. Late that night, she made a call to a trusted social worker, arranging for Aaliyah to be brought to the courthouse under strict confidentiality. The next morning, the courtroom buzzed with a restless energy as Eleanor took the bench. The tension was a living thing, coiling around the wooden pews and pressing against the stained glass windows. She called Marcus forward, her voice cutting through the murmurs like a blade. "Mr. Jackson," she began, her eyes locking onto his, "your request has been considered." The room held its breath as she paused, the silence stretching into eternity. Then, with a nod to the bailiff, the doors swung open, and a small girl with braided hair and wide, hopeful eyes stepped in. Aaliyah, escorted by a social worker. Gasps rippled through the gallery as Marcus sank to his knees, tears streaming down his face, his chains clinking softly as he embraced his daughter. The moment was raw, unguarded, a father's love breaking through the prison of his circumstances. But the drama was far from over. As Marcus whispered assurances to Aaliyah, Eleanor rose, her voice trembling with emotion. "Mr. Jackson," she said, "I lost my brother, Terrence, a black soldier, to a military cover, up decades ago. I see his spirit in you, and I won't let this court fail you, as it failed him." The room erupted in shock, but the true twist came next. Eleanor revealed she had spent the night digging into Marcus's military record, uncovering inconsistencies that led her to subpoena documents from a private contractor involved in his discharge. The evidence, emails, falsified reports, suggested Marcus had been framed to cover up the contractor's negligence in Afghanistan, a scandal that had spiraled into his wrongful arrest. The courtroom exploded into chaos, voices overlapping, but Eleanor silenced it with a single, authoritative gavel strike. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Eleanor's investigation, fueled by her personal vendetta against military injustice, unraveled a web of corruption. The contractor's lawyers fought back, their threats echoing in her chambers, but she stood firm, her past giving her an unshakable resolve. Marcus's case was reopened, the jury dismissed, and a special prosecutor appointed. On a rainy afternoon 2 weeks later, with the courtroom packed to the rafters, Eleanor delivered her verdict. The evidence was irrefutable. Marcus was exonerated, his military record restored, and custody of Aaliyah returned to him. As he walked free, hand in hand with his daughter, the gallery rose in a standing ovation, tears and applause washing away the silence that had once dominated the room. Eleanor, wiping her own eyes, felt a weight lift. A promise to Terrence fulfilled, a legacy redeemed. The story of Judge Eleanor Hayes and Marcus Jackson spread like wildfire, a beacon of hope in a fractured system. Eleanor's career soared, her name synonymous with courage, though she remained the same humble figure, her gavel now a symbol of justice reclaimed. Marcus rebuilt his life in Detroit, opening a veterans support center with Aaliyah by his side, her laughter a constant reminder of the day a judge changed their fate. The courtroom, once a place of judgment, became a monument to redemption, its silence replaced by the echoes of a story that inspired a nation. Outro. What did you think of Judge Hayes's incredible stand for justice? Would you have had the courage to risk it all like she did, or would you have played it safe? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're dying to hear from you! If this cinematic tale moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of heroism and redemption. Hit that bell icon to stay updated. And let us know what justice story you'd love to see next. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.